Are you longing to feel connected and not so alone? Longing to be happy and more alive? Badass Counseling is excited to announce the creation of Community Plus, a subscription-based private group of folks just wanting to more closely share their soul journey together with like-minded folks and with me, Sven. For a monthly fee, you'll get bi-monthly live Q&As with me, Sven, giving you a better chance of getting your own questions answered. A private community feed for you to post pictures, successes, struggles, joys, even the occasional cat picture, creating greater connection and help for healing and growth. Random drawings for free small group sessions and drawings for private coaching sessions with me. Priority access to becoming a guest on the Badass Counseling Show podcast. Unlimited access to my DIY video courses, Healing the Soul and Unleashing Your Greatness. And so much more. Community Plus is for people serious about their soul journey who want real growth, real help, real laughter, real connection, and true community. Join us now at badasscounseling.com.
From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Well, look who we found. We found this shiny penny that is you. And boy, are we glad we did. It's so nice to have you here. You're looking really snazzy today. You washed behind the ears, didn't you? It's so nice and clean you washed in your ears. It's so nice to see you today. This is the Badass Counseling Show. I am Sven Erlandson, and I am the host of this show, and it's terrific that you are here with us. Whether you are joining us from Ontario or from Michigan, whether you are here from New Jersey or from Belgium, from Southern Ireland or from Northern Japan, we love having you here with us, including all of our friends down in New Zealand and Australia. I am joined in studio by KC, who runs this entire operation from the booth, monitoring all things. We are but puppets on strings for KC. And my fine friend, my little play friend here in the studio, Rob the Rocket. Yeah. Rob, what say ye?
Shiny penny is a lovely expression, but it is now an anachronism because they ain't making pennies anymore. They were too expensive. They cost more to make than a penny.
Has the process started of stopping the penny?
I think it has.
Alas. The times they are a-changing. Yes, they are.
There's a song in there somewhere, but I can't see it.
I can't see it either. All right, Rob, let's answer some questions. I have the first one here from Like Big Curls. Ask the question on TikTok, how can I get my husband to understand his inner child wounds are destroying us? The best thing you can do, first of all, is this. Always focus on what your needs are and continue to make those clear. Okay? What are your needs? What do you want? What do you need? And what is the other person doing that is hurting you or not fulfilling your needs? I need you to bring this. I need you to stop doing that. Okay? Or you're hurting me, or that's not okay how I am being treated. Okay? And then as far as another person is only going to hear that they are the problem, which is fundamentally what you're saying. You're saying your inner child wounds are hurting us. In other words, there's something fucking wrong with you, and it's fucking up our relationship. The likelihood that someone is going to be open to hearing that when your relationship is falling apart, you're admitting that our relationship is being destroyed. So it's already well along, which means he likely senses it too. And the notion that he's going to be receptive for taking the blame for that, which is how he's going to receive it, is low. So the likelihood of getting him to understand that is unlikely. I'm going to assume that you've already attempted to say, hey, we should go to counseling therapy, the two of us. But if I'm really honest, what I do when I'm working, for instance, with couples, or, I have it on my website. If you go to badasscounseling.com, on the counseling page, I literally say, when it comes to couples, I never ever take couples together. Ever. Because it's a flying shit show and it's just a waste of my time. I want to go into a fucking room with people who are mad at each other and he said and then she said, and it's just bullshit. It's a waste of time. I always take them individually for sessions and sessions, like 2, 3, 4, or even more before I ever bring them together. Why? I'm trying to help two individuals become who the fuck they really are individually, as individuals. And then look at each other and say, hey, do I want to spend the rest of my life with you? And do I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Then make the decision. Because you don't know who the fuck you really are, and he doesn't know who the fuck he really is. If he has inner child wounds, then he doesn't know who the fuck he really is. And I'm going to be really honest with you. As I talk about in my book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, unhealthy people come in twos. Now, that's offensive to a lot of people because it's very easy to say. We prefer to say, no, my wife's a problem. I read it on MayoClinic.com. She's blah, blah, blah. She has all these symptoms. I know that she's blah, blah, blah. I'm not the problem. My wife's the problem. It's like, okay. But here's the problem. Healthy people, by definition, a healthy people will not get into a relationship with an unhealthy person. By definition. Why? Because they know it's just going to suck the fucking life out of them. Similarly, a healthy person will not long stay in a relationship with an unhealthy person. They won't. Why? Because it's sucking the fucking life out of them. And a person who is innately healthy, not innately, but they've done the work to become healthy, is not going to compromise their own soul health to stay in a relationship. They're not going to do that. So if another person is unhealthy and I'm staying in a relationship with them, I have my own blind spots. I have my own unhealthy aspects. So you want the real answer to your question? You need to get in to some hardcore counseling or be doing some hardcore self-help to healing yourself. The single best thing you can do, the biggest shot you have of healing your relationship is to heal yourself. Because you can make recommendations that he get into counseling and that's what he's going to need. But if he doesn't get into counseling, there isn't a fucking thing you can do. You need to hold your boundaries. You need to stand up and have your needs met. And you need to heal yourself. And you can make recommendations, but you can't say you are the problem, your inner child is the problem, because nobody's going to receive that. Being told I'm the problem, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, fuck you. And I had that in my first marriage. She was like, Sven, gee, I wish there was just the pills that you could take so that you'd be different. And I swear to God, literally, she said those words to me. I wish there were a pill you could take so that you would be different. And I actually allowed that for a while. And then I realized, are you fucking kidding me? So I'm the problem, but you're innocent? And I realized later after the relationship ended, she had to keep the focus on me to keep the focus off of her so that no one would see all the shit she had done wrong. Now, like Big Curls responds, yes, we went to couples therapy last year. It helped, but now we're back to square one. I'm going to assume you're back to square one because you guys stopped going to couples therapy. So it sounds like you guys need to go back to couples therapy. All right, next question. Michelle W. says, please help. My out-of-state family is mad because my husband says they need to get a hotel here. What do you need help with? I'm imagining you feel caught in the middle between your husband and your out-of-state family. I'm betting they don't want to have to pay for a hotel, but I'm also betting that your husband feels jammed when they're there, or it feels overwhelmed. And I got to be very honest with you, I can see both sides of it. I can see how your husband feels overwhelmed. That's not an unreasonable request to want someone to stay out of, to get a hotel room. That's not unreasonable. I know that when my house gets full, when we have out-of-town visitors, I can't breathe sometimes. It's just like I need to fucking have some quiet. But more than that, I feel like I have to be on all the time. And on serving, but also just on with energy. Okay? Not everybody feels that way. My girlfriend loves having a packed house. We've taken in strangers. We take in homeless kids, runaway kids, and so forth. And she likes that. Whereas me, I need some space. So I totally get where your husband is at, but I also get where your family is at. It's like, we're coming in from out of town to see you. Can't you at least put us up? So I get where your family's at, and I get where you're at, feeling caught in the middle. Another option is, what if you paid for your husband to get a hotel room? There's a compromise. It would cost far less because I'm betting all of your out-of-town town family can't fit into one hotel room. So at least your husband would have a hotel room to himself. He can get away. Now, he probably thinks I shouldn't have to leave. That's a tough one. And I would recommend that you be talking this out with your husband. But the bottom line is that in all honesty, some talking out needs to be done here between your family and your husband, because this could develop into a rift. But also, far more importantly than that, you and your husband need to talk, because I'm betting you're feeling hurt. Because I'm betting your family is somewhat upset at you, and this could create a rift between them and your husband. But also, you're just feeling hurt because you don't want to hurt your family, but you also don't want to hurt your husband, and you're just feeling sad because I'm betting you want everyone to get along. So I want you to know above all else that you're just feeling sad, because it's hard to feel caught in the middle between family and your husband or your wife. It's just a really hard spot to be in. I'd be curious to know what the single hardest part is for you, or what you most want to do in this part. All right, Light, who we know from the last one, asked the question, why is healing so difficult? Because healing is so difficult. I talk about in my book, and I think it's chapter 3, titled You're Running. Healing is so difficult because you're forced to look at the stuff that you've been running from your whole life. You're forced to face the ugly, dirty, scary, nasty stuff that you've been running from, that you've been self-medicating from through overworking, overparenting, boozing, pills, pot, weed, parenting, gambling, cheating, all the things that you do to distract yourself from those messages inside that say, I'm not wanted, I'm not wantable, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, the real me doesn't matter. All those messages that you got as a child that you probably can't even see. All the things that you do trying to prove yourself through your ego, or by how you look, or by what you do, or all your successes. All of those are an attempt to answer to those voices inside of yourself. And so healing is going in and finding the origins of the voices that you're answering to, that you don't even know you're answering to. And it's hard and it's ugly, because it means finding the origins of those voices, but it's also identifying the fact that fucking somebody taught me this. I was literally taught as a child that as a child I wasn't good enough. Somebody taught a child that they're not lovable? What the actual fuck? Who fucking does that? Oh my God. It was my parent. What? So this person that I loved taught a 7-year-old that I wasn't good enough? Taught me that I wasn't worthy of love? Fuck. That's why healing's so difficult. I've told you guys before, maybe you've never heard me say this on the show, but the very first question I ask every client, every new client, is, what percentage of the truth do you want? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, what percentage of the truth? You've sent in, I require every new client to send in a autobiography to me before session, 10 pages or less. I read it, I study it before session. I usually spend 2 to 3 hours. I do not charge for that time. So I've just made, at my rate, I've just made about a $1,500 investment in you. I don't charge you for that. All right, that's my display of good faith. But now I know your entire story from your words, and we hit the ground running from the second we walk into session. So I know your story, and my opening session with any client is 6 or 7 hours. So I will know you thoroughly. I already do, but I'll know you even more. So I want to know, what percentage of the truth do you want about you and your life? And they're like, 100%, of course. I say, great. Great. Now I'm about to give them, over the next several hours, the truth from where I sit. And see, the truth then, if you've just told me the story of your life, see, you see it from one angle, but I'm looking at all those facts and I'm just fitting the puzzle pieces together differently. And the truth is, usually comes out that you have a parent or two who taught you things about your life that have been fucking you up for the last 5 decades or 3 decades. And they're like, well, and I'm like, I'm just going on what you told me. And they're like, holy shit. Fuck me. You're right. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm just from where I'm sitting. If I missed something here, tell me. Imagine being taught as a child that you were unlovable. Imagine then also that someone taught a child that who they really are doesn't matter. Things like this. That's why this work is so hard. Because it means not just facing the pain inside, it means facing the truths of where that pain came from. And that very often in this work, villains become heroes and heroes become villains. That's why the work is so hard. And that's why I have people often ending session. I've literally had people say to me, keep your money, and plunk, they end the session. We'll be halfway into a session that they've already paid $3,000 for. They'll say, keep your money. And they'll end the session. It's too scary. It's too much. I swear to God, this has happened several times over the last 30 years. All right, next question. Here we go. Mary Thomas asked this question. Why do I always fall for men with narcissistic tendencies and cling to them? What is wrong with me? First of all, Mary, there's nothing wrong with you. Okay? Let's just take that one off the table. Like you need to like you need to beat yourself up even more, Mary. All right? I'm betting you already do that pretty well. Let's take that off the table for a second. All right? Why do I always fall for men with narcissistic tendencies and cling to them? I had mentioned in the last episode we did, last lightning round episode we did, that fundamentally narcissism, or what I call extreme takers, it starts in childhood. And it starts because someone isn't getting their love needs met to a significant degree, whether it's through neglect or the child is growing up as a golden child, or somehow this child is not getting their love needs met to a significant degree. And so then what this child learns is they learn to take love. They learn to control or manipulate. All right. So for one example, I had a young person who grew up with one young man who grew up with a single mother, and he learned that he could manipulate his mother to get video games and to get, whatever he wanted because she felt guilty and felt bad for him. And so all he had to do was fake tears or fake being sad or whatever, and he could get whatever he wanted. I had another young man, I had another client who was about 50, and she said that when she was growing up, her father had come back from the war, and he had to raise her because her mother had died. And dad was so distraught from the war that she could do whatever she wanted. And as long as she basically took care of him like a wife, that she could do anything she wanted, and she could manipulate him for anything she wanted. All right. She learned to take because dad had no love to give. Take and take and take. So a narcissist is fundamentally someone who's become an expert at taking love, hoarding it. And there's sort of a shortage mentality to it. And so they're taking. They become extreme takers. Okay. And then the person who also has a shortage of love, or who learns to give and give and give, becomes an extreme giver, right? And so what very often happens is an extreme taker meets an extreme giver meets an extreme taker. That's what's happening, Mary. Somehow you got taught that the way you get love is by giving. So you give, hoping you'll get a little bit of love in return. You were conditioned somewhere along the line to believe that you have to give tons of yourself in order to get a little bit of love. You were taught that you're only worthy of a little bit of love. You were taught that you're not good enough. Maybe you were overly criticized. Maybe you were neglected. Maybe you were taught that you are unwanted and unwantable. Maybe you were taught that you're not good enough, or that the real you doesn't matter, that your feelings, your wants, your needs don't matter. And so you're looking for someone who would pour just a little bit of love into your love cup. And I'll do everything for you. I'll do everything for you, Mary. And this used to be me. Rob and I were talking earlier. It's like he and I were both extreme givers. I'll do everything for you. You just sit tight. I'll take care of you. I'll do this. I'll do that. Just give me a little bit of love in return. In my book, I talk about a relationship camel. The person who gives and gives and gives, the extreme giver, gives and gives and gives and gives. Just give me a little bit of love in return. I can go a long distance through the desert on just a little bit of water or fat in the hump on my back of love. Okay? That's why you hold on. You want to know why? Because as long as you have someone, as long as they're giving you just a little bit of love, Mary, just a little bit of love, it's a counter message. They're here right now. And them being here right now conveys the message that you matter, that you are wanted, that you are wantable. And that is a living, breathing counter message to that other voice way down and deep inside of you, those messages you got as a child that you aren't wantable. You aren't lovable. You aren't worthy of love. So as long as this person is here, even if they are crapping on you and treating you like shit and stealing from you and taking everything you have, maybe being rude and mean to your kids, they are still here. And that is a living, breathing counter message to the scariest thing in your life. And that is those voices inside of you when they're not there. So if this person leaves, all those voices come rising up inside of you and they go like a snowstorm in your head. And it hurts so badly, those antagonistic voices that say, see, you're not good enough. See, you're a fucking loser. See, you're alone again, Mary. Look at you. You're no good. Nobody loves you. You're unlovable. You'll never have anyone again. Oh my God. And you take that person back. You tolerate anything. and you put up with it, and you put up with it. Why? Because you got this person back. But the second they leave, those voices, but you take them back, and then those voices go quiet. Those voices, that person, no matter how bad they are, is a buffer between you and the most terrifying thing inside of you, and those voices that have been antagonizing you since childhood. So that's why I say nothing is wrong with you intrinsically. What's wrong is that you are embedded with voices. You are conditioned to believe that you are unlovable, unwantable, not good enough. That you, that your feelings, your want, your voices, your authentic self is not welcome here. That you are not okay the way you are. And so you need someone else to confirm your worth, even if they are beating the living shit out of you. At least it tells you are lovable, and that makes those voices inside go away. The only thing that's wrong is those voices that taught a child that she is not lovable the way she is. Fucking hell. I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at those voices that got embedded in you. I'm wondering who the hell teaches a child that a child is not intrinsically lovable. That's the problem, Mary. It's not you. The authentic you underneath all those voices is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's a wonderful, beautiful child. You were taught a lie. It wasn't true then, and it's not true now. That's what I wrote the fucking book for. There's a hole in my love cup to help you identify and extract the very voices that are undermining you, causing you to hold on to men that are shit for you. All right, next question. Got a little cranked up there, Sven, huh? Yeah, well, kind of get a little cranked. All right, Rob, go ahead.
Soul Search says, Sven, it sounds like you had a wonderful childhood with wonderful parents. So what were the bullshit beliefs that you were taught about yourself that you overcame?
There it is. There it is. I get the occasional astute person will pick up on that. Sven, how did you get bullshit beliefs? You always talk about how you had wonderful parents. Excellent question. You're a smart one. I was raised in a home where what? What was conditioned? What was the conditioned behavior? What was the pattern behavior? What was modeled? Extreme giving, right? Christian family, father was a pastor, and not the bad kind of Christian, the good kind of Christian. My parents were World War II Christians. You know, it's just like they didn't ram shit down our throat. Not, oh, Lord of Jesus, Lord of Jesus. Not like that. It's just be a fucking go love, give to people, be good, you know, fucking help people and shit like that. But give, man, give and serve and so forth. And they didn't force us to. It was just modeled for us. And that worth is, you know, just fucking serve and give and give. And I grew up in the church and shit. And so I was just modeled to give. I don't know how else to say it. And Dad loved to serve my mom. And Mom loved to serve, and Dad served the people of the church and God. And Mom served the family and the people of the church and counseled, you know, suicide hotline and counseled people. And everybody was just serving everybody. I swear to God, servant leadership was the ethos that I was raised in servanthood. And that is without it ever being spoken, and self-abnegation. It's just serve and give and serve and give and serve and give and serve and give. That is identity. And so I also developed this big fucking ego, and I was a bragger, and I think I was trying to get attention. And I was also in a family of 6 as a way to get for myself to fill my own love cup, because everybody's serving and giving, and I'm competing with 6 other people around the table, you know, my 5 siblings and Dad, because his love cup wasn't totally full from his own childhood, because the family farm was the priority, you know, way up in Kitson County in Northwest Minnesota. So it's just like, they was good parents, but all we were taught was serving and giving and serving and giving, And we got love from them, but criminy, mom and dad are giving to 6 kids and then serving and giving to the world. And so I just gave. And the thing you got to understand, folks, is being an extreme giver is a beautiful thing. And it works. If and only if, there's the mathematician in me, former mathematician, I'm an idiot now. Being an extreme giver works if and only if you are in a relationship with an extreme giver or someone who's in the ballpark. If an extreme giver or a well along the road giver, not even extreme, just givers work well together. If they're in relationships with takers, it doesn't work. You're going to get your ass handed to you, and it sucks, and it's painful, and it fucking blows. Much more to come right after this short break.
My wife pushed me to watch this guy's TikTok videos, so I finally caved in, and holy crap, blew me away. I started watching more, and every time he opens his mouth, I get blown away in a whole new way. So I finally bought his book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. To say I got an ass kicking is an understatement. Much needed. It was like having my own personal tough therapist who just gets it. So go do yourself a favor. Get There's a Hole in My Love Cup. It's powerful stuff.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
And we're back with the lightning round. Jill Stiles asked from South Dakota, eastern South Dakota, by the way. And by the way, Pierre is the capital of South Dakota. Jill reminded me. Yeah, you're welcome, Jill. All right. Jill says, yet they didn't make quality time for me. Actually, they did. I probably got more quality time than the rest of my siblings, but they're still split in between 6 siblings, but not even the point. I think it was just give. My mom was the greatest listener. I always felt listened to. I don't know. I just gave is sort of the thing. All right, next question. This is one from Kelly O'Brien over on Facebook. Hey, Sven. Hi. Turns out Doug was living a double life. Don't know who Doug is, but take your word for it. Just like Jess. Okay, Jess was too, I guess. How do I... Kelly's question is this. How do I stop attracting these assholes? This is a great question, folks. This person asks, how do I stop attracting assholes?
Sven Sandy also asks, how do you attract an extreme taker? I think, how do you not attract them?
Right. People will say, well, my picker is broken, or how do I stop attracting assholes? How do I stop attracting this or that or whatever? You're not attracting anything. Hear me on this, folks. There's nothing wrong with your picker. There's nothing wrong with your magnet or your attractor or anything. It is not about what you are attracting. Hear me again, and then I'll tell you how. There's nothing wrong with what you're attracting. The other person is not the problem. You know what the problem is? It's what you're allowing. If you have done the inner healing work, the second someone does something that doesn't feel good, you stop it. That's the difference. The very second anything happens in the relationship that does not feel good, that feels, I'm going to employ a kid word here, yucky, you stop and you say, hey, not trying to be a dick, but I need you to apologize for that. Or, you know what? You said you were going to be here at 8 and it's 8:30. Not trying to be a dick, and if they don't apologize, you say, I really need you to apologize because honestly, it hurt my feelings. And then you just watch how they respond. And if they say, yeah, you know what? You're right. I should have been here at 8, and there's no excuse. There's just no excuse. I could tell you I was late in traffic, and sure I was, or this or that or whatever, but the bottom line is I did tell you 8. Or you know what? I can see how that hurt your feelings, and that was rude of me, and I'm sorry. And you watch how they respond. It's going to be some derivative of I'm taking ownership of it, and I hurt you, or I let you down. And my response inside of me, and even verbally, but my response inside of me is thank you. You just showed me who you are. In other words, you're a quality person, and I want to step back into this relationship. I want to take one more step with you. Or they're going to respond with some derivative of, I don't know what you're talking about. Or, no, I didn't do that. Or, yeah, but I had a good reason. Or they're going to defend, deflect, dodge, or deny. or they're going to do the quick apology and we need to move forward. Like the, politician who gets caught cheating on his wife. Yeah, I did it, but we need to move forward now. Okay.
Or if they say, that's just the way I am,
Right.
deal with it.
Right. Which is a form of sort of defending themselves. Right. If it's some part of that sort of food group, my response inside of me is, oh my God, thank you so much. You just showed me who you are. And now I know I am stepping out of this relationship. The problem is not who you are attracting. There is nothing wrong with you're a picker. The problem is what you are allowing. And if you have not done your healing work, people, if you have not done your healing work, you are going to allow shit. Those little things that are happening that later on you say, oh, I saw the red flags. Really? So you saw them and you allowed them. See, people say, I have people say, to me, a red flag is when something doesn't feel good. That's literally what a red flag is. And I get people saying to me, that's not a red flag. A red flag is domestic violence. A red flag is gaslighting. A red flag is gray rocking. A red flag is when, they're stealing from you. No. Shoot. If they're doing those things, shit, your car is already flying off the cliff, man. That's not a red flag. A red flag was that sign 5 miles back that said reduce your speed limit to 45 miles an hour. Shoot. If they're punching you in the face, your car is already filling up with water in the lake. You got about 4 seconds to get out of that fucking car. No, those aren't red flags. The problem isn't who you're attracting. The problem is what you're allowing. You want to know what the very first thing is that I do when I'm working with someone who's, let's say, been through a traumatic experience or, traumatic relationship or domestic violence or something like that. I help them heal first and foremost. But then as they're transitioning back into considering going, dating or starting a new relationship, considering it. Do you know what the first thing they have to begin to learn is? That word, boundaries. Why do they need to learn boundaries? So that they don't allow shit. Oh, allow. Oh, so boundaries is about what I allow. Oh, so I have responsibility for how I'm treated. Oh, so my allowing is part of the problem. It's not the cause, but it is part of the equation. So if I'm teaching someone who is a victim that in the future they need to have boundaries so that they are not allowing, then if I'm trying to solve the equation of my past, it's important for me to look at what have I been allowing and where did I get the messages long before that, gee, I have to allow that shit. The problem is not your picker. The problem is not who you're picking. The problem is what you are allowing and why you are allowing it. What do you believe about yourself? Why are you so desperate that you are allowing someone to treat you that way? Why do you think, what are the usual messages for why we allow shit? Oh, it'll get better. Oh, they don't really mean it. Oh, I'm so afraid they might leave me. I may never find someone better than this. Oh, but their butt is so cute. Oh, but she's so smoking hot. Oh, I've never met someone like this before. All these stupid fucking excuses that we allow someone to do these little things to us and we let it go. Thinking it'll go away, thinking it'll get better. And it's a mistake. You want to know why? Small things become big things, people. This is one of those things. This is one of those Svenisms. On my website, on the articles page on Badass Counseling, there's a page of just Svenisms, stupid things I say. And one of them is this: small things invariably become big things. And Rob, you guys didn't hear it? Rob, turn up your mic and do it again. Do the sound that you did when I said small things become big things. You went, Nope.
Nope, I don't.
You went,
Yeah, because I want to get into a time machine with you and go back to 1985. I would be in so much better shape now.
I graduated from high school in 1985. What happened to you in 1985, Rob?
That was my first wife took off, and I had been putting up with stuff.
Small things
that became really big.
There you have.
And then history repeated itself. So could we please get in the time machine?
Can we get in the time machine?
And by the way, if you are now 25 or 30, would you please listen to Sven? Please?
You know what? And you know what? If you are 25 or you are 30 or you are 35, you may think you're old and shit like that. Don't listen to me. Go into the comment section of any of my fucking videos on relationships or marriage or parenting. Don't listen to me. Listen to all the salty old fuckers, all the older gals, and
Hey, I resemble that. Hey,
all the old gals and all the old guys, and learn from their comments. Not the ones who are just fucking bitter. Put the bitter ones aside, all right? But the ones who say, I wish I would have done this when I was 35. Or, you know what, when I was 28, the one thing I wish I would have stood up for myself more, or whatever. And even you guys in your 40s, you think you're so fucking old and you can't change. Jesus, mother of Christ. You have no idea how young you are. You have so much life ahead. You can change now. You have decades ahead of you. Do the work now, for the love of God. Don't think it'll just go away. The cancer is only going to metastasize. All right, next question. Becoming Katie asked a great question. Becoming Katie says, who's doing the healing work, she says, how do I combat the loneliness while I heal and fix myself? You don't combat it. You go into it. Your loneliness should be one of the highest priorities in your journaling. You should be writing on the top of your journaling page, I am feeling lonely today. I am feeling so fucking lonely. God damn it, I fucking hate loneliness. This loneliness sucks fucking cock. Fuck, I feel like I'm taking up the ass from a lead pipe of loneliness. No, I'm fucking serious. This is how I journal. This is literally how I fucking journal. If I were journaling on loneliness, why am I feeling lonely? Where's the loneliness coming from today? Who am I really missing? And if you're missing a person, write a letter. My next page would be, or I'd have a second pad of paper right here, and I'd write a letter to whoever I'm missing the most. Maybe I'm missing my mom. My mom's been dead for whatever number of years. Or maybe I'm missing, my ex-wife or whatever. And I'd write a letter to that person that you don't send. I mean, you can, but I made that mistake so many times. But the point isn't you're trying to get the person back. The point is you're trying to flush. So let your loneliness, that's what you need to be purging most. You don't want to combat the loneliness. You want to welcome the loneliness. Those feelings that are gripping you the most, people, maybe for you it's love. Maybe for you it's rage. Maybe for you it's melancholy. Maybe for you over there, the biggest one that is lethargy. Maybe for you back there, the biggest one that's getting you is a sense of betrayal. Whatever feelings, moment to moment, day to day, this week, whatever it is, that has got you by a chokehold, or that's tying your gut in knots, or that's got you down there by the short and curlies. That's what you need to be fucking journaling on. That's the shit you need to be going into it with your therapist on, not the shit, here's what went on this last week, and boy, it was a rough week. No. What's gnawing at you? That's the X marks the spot on the fucking treasure map of your soul work. Start there. Or start with the shit you don't want to fucking look at. That's where you start your work. But loneliness, that's welcome. You have to welcome the ugly, the dirty, the scary shit. That's where you start digging, folks. All right, next question. Here we go. This is Eric asked me the question here on Facebook. How does one repair trust in a relationship? I can forgive, but healing seems to take so long. Eric, this is a question I get a lot, whether it's because of cheating in a relationship or stealing in a relationship, or someone taking another person for granted, or using another person, or abusing another person. When trust has been broken in a relationship, a breach has been created in the trust sort of continuum. What the fuck do you do? How does one repair trust in a relationship? I can forgive, but healing seems to take so long. Trust is, to me, the sine qua non of all relationships. If it is not there, it's just, you don't have a relationship. You can go through it, but ultimately the only thing that repairs trust is one more day of you not breaking my trust. And you say, it seems to take so long. It does. And it's going to take even longer, Eric. It's going to take even longer. And this person just has to keep winning your trust every fucking day. That's it. And if they're begging to get your trust back, like, and this is sort of a classic, someone who's cheated, and they say, but you should be trusting me. It's been a year and I'm here. Why aren't you, you got to get over it. And it's like, no, fuck you, dude. You breached the trust, or fuck you, lady. You broke my trust. It just takes time. I won't know. I don't know. I can't just say, okay, now I trust you now it's all over. Anybody saying that is bullshitting themselves. It's not something you can say, and gee, now I just automatically trust you. It's something you feel. Trust is something you feel. And it's something that's just won. Trust is won. It's not given even. It's won. Day after day, year after year. And the amount of time it took to breach the trust and break it, it takes 10 times that to win it back. And I'm sorry, Eric, but that's just fact. They just have to keep winning it back from you with contrition and humility. And if they're trying to like leverage you or something to try to get back sooner, tough shit. Fuck them. Sorry. You can't. And regarding therapy, just as a brief aside, what people really want is a therapist they can trust. And I don't mean like, they might share your secrets. Every therapist is bound to, by a code of ethics, and every clergy person, that they can't share your secrets. I don't mean that kind of trust. I get people coming to me all the time saying, yeah, my last therapist fired me, or said, I don't know what to do with your problems. Or they left their last therapist because they felt their therapist couldn't really help them. It's a different type of trust when it comes to therapy. What people really want is they want to know that they can trust the therapist, or trust the clergy person, or trust the social worker. And what does that mean? They want to know that you are a vessel large enough to contain my problems. That your salad bowl is big enough to hold my salad. That not only can you hold and contain, not contain like pin down, but hold, handle, be okay with, and help my salad of problems. And that you, like I said, you can help it. But if you haven't experienced it, or don't have experience working with sort of my food group of problems, how can you fucking help me? And that's what it means to trust someone with your problems. And we've all had that friend that you open up to, and gee, they're a good friend, but it's like they just have a habit of saying the wrong shit, or they make it about them. Oh boy, let me tell you though. Yeah, you think you got problems. Let me tell you about what happened to me this week. It's like, that's so what I didn't need to hear right now. Can I just tell you about my ship? That sort of thing. Questions here for us. Go ahead, Rob.
Over on YouTube, Silver Mist says, I have to move back in with my narcissistic mom. Any advice on how to stay sane and focused?
Yeah. When in close proximity to any narcissistic person, or what I refer to as an extreme taker, you are going to have very clear boundaries that you enforce. You are responsible for enforcing your boundaries, executing those boundaries every day, every hour. If you do not establish and maintain your boundaries, it's your own fault. Period. And I'm not trying to be a dick, but you have to. Your sanity is your responsibility. Remember, my phrase for a narcissist is an extreme taker. Extreme takers come from what? In childhood, they were taught that their needs, their wants, their love, getting love is not important. So what do? They learned as a child to steal love. Well, you can hardly blame a child for stealing love if they're not getting it. You can't blame a child. They're just trying to fucking survive. It was a survival mechanism, right? They're protecting themselves. They've been doing it for so fucking long. Now your mom's been doing it decade after decade for 6, 7, 8 decades, however old she is. Now it's just who she is, and everybody's tolerating it. And so she is going to do everything in her power to steal your love. And if she gives any love, it's just transactional. She wants a return on her investment. So she may give 8 coins, but she wants 26 coins in response, so to speak. So you've got to maintain hard boundaries, right? And you cannot expect to get anything in return. You cannot expect. If you really want to dig deep, ask yourself what you are still wanting from your parent. You might say nothing. Really? Make sure that's true. Because if you're wanting something, you may try to open up, or you may try to hope she'll give you this, and I don't mean like stuff. I mean like affirmation or a relationship or her, giving approval or something like that. Because the moment you want that, you open up, you make yourself vulnerable to her hurting you again, or her not meeting your needs. And remember, folks, and now I'm sort of zooming out a bit here. Anytime you want something from someone, they have the power to make you miserable by withholding it. So if you are still wanting something from a family member, from a lover, maybe an ex, or from a parent who has a long history of not meeting your needs, as long as you still want something, they still have power over you. They still have the power to make you miserable by withholding it. So you might want to consider doing the work to flush out your desire for that thing.
Follow up, Sven.
Lay it on me, Muka.
How do you develop boundaries when you're too nice to speak up?
Well, that's the problem. You've been raised by an extreme taker. It's not that you're too nice to speak up. That's not the issue at all. You were conditioned by this extreme taker that it is your mother that you were not allowed to speak up. When you were a child, what do children naturally do? Children naturally say, I want a new cookie. I ate one. I want another one. That's what children naturally do. And do you know what children also naturally do? Oh, let me share part of my cookie with you. Children naturally give, and children naturally want. Both. So when you say you're too nice to speak up, no. That's not your natural state. Your natural state was to speak up. But that quickly got squashed out of you. By whom? The extreme taker, who made it about her your entire childhood.
This was a different person, by the way.
Rob.
So it might have been either.
Sorry.
No, it's the right answer, but it may or may not have been the mom.
Gotcha. Yeah, so this is a different person saying, what if you're too nice to speak up? It's not that you're too nice. You were conditioned to believe that your voice doesn't matter. So you've got to go inside and do the work to heal, to find the origins of that voice that taught you that you weren't allowed to speak up. And you've got to begin the extraction, the identification and extraction of those voices so that you can find your voice, because your natural state is to want. We all want things, and we also enjoy giving. Both giving and receiving. No person is innately selfless completely. We are both selfish at times and selfless at times. Our natural state is somewhere oscillating around that midpoint of giving and taking, giving and receiving. It's both. And if it's not both, you are not living your authentic self. And the work has to be done to purge out those voices so that you can become more authentic and your authentic self. And as a result, more fulfilled. All right, next question.
Sven, if I may interject, I'm a big Beatles fan, and there's a lot of truth in that music and poetry, but there's one thing that they got wrong, especially when it comes to extreme takers.
What's that?
The love you take is equal to the love you make.
Ah.
I think that's a goal and not a truth.
Interesting.
It just occurred to me while you were giving that last answer.
I like that. And the one I like to reference from the Moody Blues.
Why do we never get an answer?
No,
that's not this show.
It's from that song. The question, it's and the love you've been giving has all been meant for you.
Right. Similar idea.
Very similar. And the love you've been giving has all been meant for you. I'm looking for the one to change my life. God damn, that's a good song. You always say the Moody Blues are so pretentious.
Well, no, it was art rock.
It was art rock.
It's all fabulous. Ride My Seesaw? Great cut.
Oh, yeah, that song reminds me of my first wife. All right, anyway.
Sorry.
No, she was great. And that was a million years ago, 35 years ago, whatever. All right, next question. Wyatt Thomas says on Facebook, why don't you show Rob? If you saw
I'm on YouTube.
If you go over to YouTube, you can see Rob. You can see Carly, the studio cat, although she has bounded away. But if you long to see Rob and interact with Rob monitors all the questions on YouTube. And so you can see him and you can interact with him. Oh, he's coming over to show his fine mug right now to my crew here.
I'm a real person.
He's a real person. There he is. Rob, they didn't see you on TikTok. Come on.
TikTok. Oh.
This man was senior vice president to Paramount Pictures. He was vice something at Spike TV. He was a big shot here, there, and everywhere. He was a heavy hitter, still is. He runs this show, and I'm just the hack who does the talking.
My greatest achievement, this show.
Yes. All right. Patty asks, is this live going to be a podcast? And if so, which one? I believe it's July 20th.
The answer is yes, and it will be July 20th.
Okay. We need to get a question or two here. They're flying by pretty quickly. Let me see. Acer Gal says, is Rob single? Yes, he is. And you can write into him at rob@badasscounseling.com. Nope.
Is it? Yeah, I guess it is.
rob@badasscounseling.com.
Okay.
If you have fan mail for Rob, feel free to write in at rob@badasscounseling.com. By the way, we don't say this often enough, but if you have an issue, if you would like to be a guest on the Badass Counseling Show and get counseled by me on one of our Thursday episodes, which are counseling episodes, you need to write in a one paragraph, 250 words or less, to production@badasscounseling.com. That is production@badasscounseling.com. 250 words of what you're struggling with and why you want to be on the show. To be counseled by me. Production@badasscounseling.com. All right, let's see here. Jay Boogie on TikTok asked the question, what about a parent that is an extreme giver? What issues does that cause? I had parents who were extreme givers, and that causes, first of all, it causes modeling issues. So what that modeled for me is the same thing, that the way you get love is by giving love, that the way you walk through life is by giving. If they're not also modeling the setting of boundaries and the need to honor your own needs for love. So the issue it creates is there's no counterpoint. I always tell people, and listen up, guys. So this particular part isn't just about extreme giving or extreme taking. Listen up. Ask yourself this question. If you're a parent or you are about to start parenting or considering parenting, ask yourself what your most important values are that you want to teach your child, and teach them that, and teach them the importance of the opposite. You heard me. All right, I'm going to give you an example. I was a manners Nazi when my kids were young, and my first wife agreed with me pretty much on that. We were very important we placed high priority, on table manners, hats off at the dinner table, don't sing at the dinner table, please and thank yous, elbows off the table, don't chew with food in your mouth, be nice to old people, be gentle with little children, just real hardcore on, don't eat your dinner food on the sofa, just general manners. Okay. It was very important. If we're at somebody else's house, you clear your own dishes. You offer the guest to help clear the other dishes at the table. My girlfriend that I'm with now, 2 wives later, she'll actually do the dishes when she's at a guest's house because she knows what it's like to be the hostess and have to have a whole bunch of dishes at the table or, after the party leaves. Okay. But, so I was a manners Nazi with my kids, but once a month we had Bad Manners Day. And I literally taught my kids the exact opposite. So we would have a food fight. We would all use bad manners. We'd say things like, give me that food. We'd talk with food in our mouth, and we'd all talk like horses chewing our cud or cows chewing our cud. We'd, get up and in the middle of the meal and go over and sit on the sofa and eat our food. From our car, we'd sort of fudge a little bit on this. If there was an old person walking across the street, rather than being nice old people, we'd say it within the confines of the car. Walk faster, old person. You're ruining my day. We'd have really bad manners for one day. We were mocking the very values that I prized and that their mother prized. Why? So that the children could learn that there are no absolutes. So that the children could learn that they need to learn their own values. They need to set their own sort of parameters on their values. That it's okay. That there are no absolutes. In other words, that yes, manners are important, but it's also not so important that you have to take it so seriously, and that it's okay to fudge, and that not everything is perfect. And so, for instance, what about if you grew up in a home that says don't ever tell a lie? Really? What's that child going to do when they're 6 years old and they're at somebody's house and the food that they just ate didn't taste very good? Did you remember to teach them about tact? And that sometimes you should tell a lie? I went to the U.S. Air Force Academy. All of the service academies in the United States have an honor code. We will not lie, cheat, or steal or tolerate amongst us anyone who does. But they also teach us about tact. That if you're invited over to the general's house or the colonel's house and the general fixes you a meal, or the general's spouse or son fixes you a meal, and it's terrible, you don't say, "Oh my God, this hot dish sucked ass." No, you say, "Sir, this was delicious. Thank you so much for this lovely meal." Or, "Ma'am, this was so kind of you. This was perhaps one of the best meals I've had in a year. Wow, thank you." Tact. Sometimes you lie. Right. So what's my point?
You get served the same thing next time, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, then there's that. Right. And so what's the point? The point is that the original question was, what about a parent that's an extreme giver? What issues does that cause? Is that the extreme giver has to be teaching boundaries as well. And an extreme giver probably isn't teaching boundaries. And so the issue it causes is it teaches you to not have any boundaries yourself. It teaches you that you're not worthy of love in and of yourself, that you have to purchase love, that you have to give and give and give and give in order to be worthy of just a little bit of love. And so what you have to learn for yourself is that counter message, that bad manners day, so to speak. And the counter message is that you are worthy of love. Because you should never teach a child that they're not worthy of love. You should teach a child that you are worthy of love. I had one of my kids tell me recently, "Sven, Pop, I wish you would have taught me to, have some swagger. You always taught me, to give and to be generous to other people. What about me?" And I'm like, fuck, that's a great fucking message. And you are right. You are right. I fucked up tons. Fuck, as a parent, we all make fucking mistakes, right? And so what issues does that cause? It's going to cause you to doubt yourself. It's going to cause you to give too much in relationships if you had a parent who was an extreme giver. All right, I'm going to take one more question. Rob, you know what?
Sir.
Yes, we have a leftover question from our last session, because in the last session, we opened our last lightning round with a question about voluntarily choosing to end life, okay? And then we had someone in session ask a question that Rob was going to ask me, and then we got lost in the session. Rob, go ahead and ask the question now that this person asked during our last lightning round.
Right, and the reason that we were careful is that when we mentioned that
SUICIDE, when you use that word on TikTok,
sometimes they cut you right
they'll
off.
shut you right down.
For no good reason in this case, but understand the theme. At any rate, someone asked, why do you say in your own personal experience that you committed suicide,
right,
and not say you attempted it?
Right. As most of you know who follow the show, I tell people that, 25 years ago, I committed SUICIDE. I have the long slits up my arms and bled for an hour, and then got out of the car. I said, "Hey, could you call a ambulance to someone?" And decided I didn't want to die. He said, "Call the ambulance." And so then they took me and patched me up and stitched you up and so forth. And then I spent some time in the psych ward, and it's supposed to be 72 hours in that state, and it ended up being 36 hours. They released me early and so forth. And I always tell people 25 years ago I committed suicide. And I've had numerous people over the years say, "Oh, you mean you attempted suicide? You didn't succeed?" I say, "No, I actually committed suicide." And they're like, "Well, you're still alive, so obviously you didn't." And I say, "No, you're actually wrong." And let me tell you the reason I say that. The reason I say that is because I'm reminded of back when I was a clergyman, and I'm reminded of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And I'm not going to get spiritual or religious here. Well, I am going to get spiritual, but not religious. Look at that. TikTok just restricted me on the guidelines for the use of that word. They do it every time.
Yeah, we predicted it.
We predicted it. All right. Anyway, they always do that. They hate that word. They'll let all manner of people create all sorts of fake accounts on me, which breaks the rules. But that one word, or if you show your boobies, anyway.
But that's okay to say.
I am not going to show my boobies. Anywho, I use that word because in the Sermon on the Mount, he says, blessed, in one version, in the version in Luke, I believe it is, he says, blessed are the poor in spirit. In the version in Matthew, it says, blessed are the poor. So obviously, those are two very different messages. And who is poorer in spirit than the person who's going to go ahead and off themselves? Right? And the way I think about with time when I offed myself, or got, as some would say, attempted, is that who I was, the spirit of who I was, died. Old Sven died. The body is alive, but the old person, the spirit of who I was, for sure died. 100%. And needed to die. And the belief system, the old belief system died. And it took time for the new one to find birth. It took time for the new one to come alive and for the old one to be extracted, as it takes time for the snake to slough its skin. Right? But no, it wasn't just an attempt. It was an actual death of the spirit, willful, chosen. And I'm glad I did it. I'll be very, very honest with you. In part because I have counseled literally hundreds in the 25 years since then. And I'm only able to do it because I have been there. Now, do I recommend it to anybody? No, of course not. No. And I know that there is life afterwards, and I know how to bring people out of that. But no, that was not an attempt. That was the death of who I was. And there's life afterwards. And that divine spark inside has been stoked to full flame. There is life. There is not just hope. I know that life exists after it because I am living proof of it. And I am here to help in whatever small ways I can. I am just one beggar trying to show other beggars where to find food.
In that example, we're just all glad you were incompetent. You didn't succeed.
In the body part, but in the soul part,
yeah.
I did succeed. I was quite competent.
And we're very pleased that you succeeded in that.
I am non compos mentis. That's what I say. And yes, I did study Latin, and that is the only thing I would ever want to go back and study ever again. I loved studying Latin so much.
Really?
Yeah, I studied Koine Greek, studied classical Greek, studied Latin, German, studied Hebrew, but I loved Latin so much.
In hoc signo funky.
Well played, Rob. Well played. Well, fine humans, this has been just delightful. And thank you all for joining. Some interesting questions. We played around more in this one than we did in the earlier one this evening. Although I felt like we played in that one too. Rob?
Yeah, good times.
What do you have to say this evening?
First of all, I broke the fourth wall with TikTok and Facebook by coming over and showing my face. I think I preferred being a disembodied voice, but that'll be all right.
Oh.
Secondly, you used a term I was not familiar with in the show, and that is gray rocking. What is that?
Gray rocking, as all the hip fucking whatever people nowadays. This term is new, common parlance, 5 years? And it's basically where you gray rock, you just like go stiff on people. You just like sort of shut it down. You go gray on them. You become like a rock, and not in the Ford commercial way.
Gotcha.
Like a rock, those. That's all it. You know me, I don't allow my clients to ever use jargon. It's just like, speak fucking English to me, man. I just am so itching to take another fucking question, but I know you won't let me. So,
well, we have more show. This one, we're over an hour now, and
I know. No, we'll just let it go at that. That was just so much fun.
Who's still here? Everybody.
Oh, look at that. They just cut off my live access on TikTok. This time they actually cut it off.
Well, yep.
It's motherfuckers. They cut it off. They don't like that fucking word. There are literally fucking 50 fake accounts on me, but you use that word and they will fucking cut it down.
It's a bot. It's nobody really listening. It's a artificial lack of intelligence.
That's such shit. Anyway, violation reasons, suicide and self-harm. Fuck you, TikTok. All right. Do I agree with this decision? No, fuck off. There you go, guys. That's all the fun we can handle in one night. We're doing what we can to help the world. We enjoy your questions. What a weird lightning round this has been tonight. Great questions. I love them all. Rob, anything else?
Let's get it on, get it over, and get to bed.
Let's get it on, get it over, and get to bed. All right, man. This has been awesome. All right, let's do it. On behalf of my team here, Casey, who's just laughing in the booth, Rob the Rocket next to me. What the fuck just happened? This has been great. You guys have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.